Today we're taking a look at Proverbs chapter 16, and so we read, "The plans of the mind belong to mortals, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All one's ways may be pure in one's own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit. Commit your works to the Lord, and your plans will be established. The Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. All those who are arrogant are an abomination to the Lord. Be assured, they will not go unpunished. By loyalty and faithfulness, iniquity is atoned for, and by the fear of the Lord, one avoids evil. When the ways of people please the Lord, he causes even their enemies to be at peace with them. Better is a little with righteousness than large income with injustice. The human mind plans the way, but the Lord directs the steps. Inspired decisions are on the lips of a king. His mouth does not sin in judgment. Honest balances and scales are the Lord's. All the weights in the bag are his work. It is an abomination to kings to do evil, for the throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of a king, and he loves those who speak what is right. A king's wrath is a messenger of death, and whoever is wise will appease it. In the light of a king's face there is life, and his favor is like the clouds that bring the spring rain. How much better to get wisdom than gold. To get understanding is to be chosen rather than silver. The highway of the upright avoids evil. Those who guard their way preserve their lives. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. It is better to be of a lowly spirit among the poor than to divide the spoil with the proud. Those who are attentive to a matter will prosper, and happy are those who trust in the Lord. The wise of heart is called perceptive. A pleasant speech increases persuasiveness. Wisdom is a fountain of life to one who has it, but folly is the punishment of fools. The mind of the wise makes their speech judicious, and adds persuasiveness to their lips. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. Sometimes there is a way that seems to be right, but in the end it is the way to death. The appetite of workers works for them. Their hunger urges them on. Scoundrels concoct evil, and their speech is like a scorching fire. A perverse person spreads strife, and a whisperer separates close friends. The violent entice their neighbors and lead them in a way that is not good. One who winks the eye plans perverse things. One who compresses the lips brings evil to pass. Gray hair is the crown of glory. It is gained in a righteous life. One who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and one whose temper is controlled than one who captures a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but the decision is the Lord's alone." What a great reading we have for today. First and foremost, this verse 31 sticks out. Gray hair is a crown of glory. It is gained in a righteous life. You can't see it so much now because I just cut my hair yesterday morning, but I've gained quite a bit of gray hair. And so now I know why, because it says here in verse 31 that gray hair, if you have gray hair, it is gained in a righteous life. So remember that. If you have gray hair, you are living a righteous life. So praise be to God for that. Anyway, so back on to more seriousness this morning. Proverbs 16 speaks about how we as humans have the power to choose what we want in life. We have the power to go out and do what we want. But ultimately, it is God who directs our paths and directs our lives. So we, as humans, propose, and God disposes. Now, this doesn't mean that God throws in the trash. Disposes has another meaning that we don't often use or don't often hear, but in this instance, God disposes or God directs. God brings us into God's way of life. And so that's what that means. So we propose, as humans, we propose, and God disposes of that. But let's focus a little bit on verse 20. I really like this verse today. Verse 20 says, "Those who are attentive to a matter will prosper, and happy are those who trust in the Lord." Now, in the Message Bible by Eugene Peterson, verse 20 is translated like this. It pays to take life seriously. Things work out when you trust in God. That, I think, is a little bit easier to understand, but even better yet, I like the older translation in the New International Version that reads like this: "Those who are attentive to a word will prosper, and happy are those who trust in the Lord." So those who are attentive to a word instead of to a matter, I think that makes it clearer. Those who are attentive to word or to God's word or to the words of the prophets, those people that pay attention to that will live and have a better life. And that brings me to the first part of the Gospel of John. This is a part that we read especially at Christmas time. But that whole idea of being attentive to a word, to being attentive and to being aware of what's going around on what's going around around us, brings me to that. It reminds me of this beginning part of the Gospel of John. And so it reads like this: "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it." So that word that brings us life is light. It's light in darkness. It's what we need today. It's that upbringing. It's that joy-making that we have. Our ending of Proverbs today speaks about that wisdom giving life to those who live in the Word, to those that recognize the Word that was from the beginning, from Christmas. We are reminded that it's better to listen to God's Word than to speak and to risk speaking falsely or speaking lies about one another or about friends or about anything. And so we have two questions today for our chapter and for this verse. How do we prepare ourselves to be more attentive to God's word so that at Christmas time we recognize Christ coming in our lives and we don't not see it and we miss it? So how do we be more attentive? And it's a two-parter. And are we doing enough to get ready to be more attentive to God's word? So that question again, how do we prepare ourselves to be more attentive to God's word? And are we doing enough to be more attentive? And then our second question today, God's word brings life and light. How might we bring these empowering words, the words of the Bible, the words of Proverbs and the Gospels, how might we bring these empowering words to a world that is hurting and in need? I hope that you have a great day and God bless you. We'll see you again tomorrow.